My name is Faith, and I use they and them pronouns. I'm like one of two program coordinators for Pieces to Pathways.
My name's Tim, and my pronouns are they and them. My job title is program coordinator at Pieces to Pathways. Basically, I do case management and counseling, a lot of direct client work.
Fundraising and communication, also doing outreach as well.
And then some admin stuff to keep the program functioning.
Pieces to Pathways was started about 6 years ago now.
We're a peer-led substance use support program for queer and trans folks. I think it's a hugely significant program in that we offer a type and a model of support that realistically nobody else does.
If you want to get sober in Toronto and you don't want to do 12-step programs, there aren't a lot of places to go to as a queer and trans person.
We know from our own experience as queer and trans people that we generally prefer to engage with folks of similar experiences.
Just being there for other people when you feel like you can is really important.
Our hope is that for folks coming in, there's kind of an immediate sense of comfort and safety and community that folks are probably unlikely to find elsewhere.
One thing that I would say is unique is that all of our staff have lived experience with substance use and recovery, however defined by the individual, and are also queer and trans identified.
So everybody coming in is aware that program workers will share at least certain aspects of their own experiences.
They're not just doing this type of work at Breakaway, but they're also doing this type of work and living these lives outside in the community as well too.
I think it's, again, so intertwined with my personal life and the types of relationships that I try to build with people anyway.
We have a lot of shared values, shared vision, and shared principles. So when we're making decisions together, it's a lot easier because everybody's committed to the same goal. We ultimately decided to go with Breakaway because they were the smallest agency and that we knew that we would retain the most amount of autonomy when trying to develop and deliver this program.
They believed in the work that we wanted to do. They would give us the support that we needed to actually do that. They also didn't try to micromanage us and just sort of trusted that we had some sense of what we were doing.
And throughout the time that Pieces to Pathways has been at Breakaway, there's just a sense of trust that we're just gonna do whatever we have to do, and it's within the best interest of the people that we serve.
One of the things that Faith and I often talk about is dismantling that idea of professionalism.
When we did a set of evaluations a couple years ago, service users said that when they first came to Pieces to Pathways, they actually couldn't distinguish the staff from other service users. And for us, that was really meaningful.
And I think within Breakaway as a whole, we're young and hip and fresh, and people wear crop tops to work and do kind of whatever they want. So I think it injects some of that energy into the agency as a whole.
I feel like Pieces to Pathways has had an impact where it's kind of just brought a lot of people together. There's a lot of people that we work with as service users, but then there's a lot of people that we also work with in community, and those people might not necessarily meet, but they're still interacting with us, and then the impact of better drug education or better outcomes with mental health and wellness are being had at the same time.
We're certainly the best agency in Toronto for what we do. Anybody who I know seeking support of this type, this is certainly one of the few places I would suggest that they go. I've referred my friends here, I referred my roommate here.
The majority of our staff are involved with different initiatives in the community, are helping out elsewhere, or are also big supports to people in their lives around substance use and just everything.
Working with either substance use support organizations that needed some queer and trans competency, or queer and trans organizations that needed some capacity building around like harm reduction and substance use.
The impact in general is just like building awareness, building a better understanding of like what drug use can look like, what it does look like, and that if people want to change their relationship with substances, that they have an option to do so. Our team's really small, and the amount of one-to-one support services that we provide is pretty much maxed out. The amount of need definitely outweighs the amount of capacity that we have. Toronto, that hosts the largest LGBT population in all of Canada, there's lots of need there.
And unfortunately, like outside of advocacy, there isn't a huge amount that we're able to do about that.
We know that we can't be everything to everyone, but we try to just focus on meeting the needs of the people that we work with currently.
For a donor, your money would support like directly the work that we're doing and the folks that we serve.
Someone said to me one time, they were like, just knowing that this program exists like gives me hope.
The work that we do is a super necessary, life-saving service. So, I mean, realistically, anybody who has that capacity could certainly play a bigger role in sustaining what we do.
We've had a lot of support by just people in the community, like friends, people that we know, friends of friends, past service users, family members of service users. And I think that people have this idea in their head that like you have to be like a rich person to like make an impact. But I think that when more people come together and contribute like whatever they got, that actually has more capacity for impact than one rich person does.